Hey, good morning. I'm really excited. I'm now moving beyond my hard construction of the cottage. All these big beams and roof panels and hard work, all those things, now to the artsy part. And just before Christmas, I stumbled upon a treasure that I'm really excited about, but I pursue this with caution. First, I'm going to tell you a little background story. When I started planning this cottage, it was my dream to use old wood, and I do have a lot of old wood, but even the structural timbers, I was going to take old hand-hewn timbers, and I found a barn in Spokane, Washington that had been torn down over in Idaho, and it had enough hand-hewn timbers. I think I could have done the whole cottage with it, but this is just common sense. When you get into building new structures, you have codes, and engineering has require on new wood so that because they'll know the strength of it. Now you can use old wood, but then it has to be stamped by an engineer and tested, and that can get up $500,000 a board, which is ridiculous. I mean, it makes sense. So I had to put that dream away, but I did start distressing wood. These beams here are brand new, but I have a adze, like an axe that makes marks in it. And then stained it with vinegar and steel wool and got this look. Now this beam here is a gluing beam required by engineering to span this 16 feet span, and I'm going to have to cover it up somehow. I don't like the way it looks. But anyway, I stumbled across some incredible beams, and I've always loved beams, old things. These are Civil War era hand-hewn white oak beams from a barn in Indiana. And good old Google knew what I like to look at. And one morning, just before Christmas, it said, hey, here's a guy in Washington State that just hauled these out here from Indiana. And I got in contact with him and was able to get several beams from him. And sadly, this was two beams. I had to cut each one in half to get on the truck and the way I'm going to use them. So they're they're just incredibly gorgeous. They'll have a little bit of finish on them. They'll look better once I'm put them up. Now, I am, as I said before, I am not a skilled woodworker. My son is. My son's a very skilled woodworker. And I am not a practical guy. I do things, and sometimes they turn out bad because they just don't make sense. I built a wooden sink once in a house because I built a boat, and it made sense I could build a sink, and that didn't work out. So these beams to fit, three of these beams are going to be around this door. And this door, you can see I've got distressed wood. This is modern fir that I distressed. I'm going to take this out and replace it with these oak beams. But you see they're much thicker, so I'm going to have a problem here because I can't drop down the door face that much or it'd be too short. So I'm going to have to cut notches out, big notches, and this wood is full of nails, so that's another complicating factor. I've ordered a bunch of saw blades and I have some chisels, and it's going to be a lot of work to cut this beam out to fit this door face, and then the two long ones here be cut to be on each side of the door, and those two will have to be notched out around the wall. Now my son, I could ask him to do it. He could do a fabulous job. But he does this for a career, and he can't stop what he's doing to help me all the time. And then, of course, I pay him market value, and my funds for the cottage is just about running out. But that's my beams. They're like family to me. They're just to me gorgeous. And I found markings from the guys who built the barn. It was an Amish barn, from what I heard. And this is the door. It's going to go in it. And looking at this door, a lot of people, as soon as they see it, say, "Oh, you're going to refinish that?" And I have to chuckle and say, "It's already refinished." I actually I replaced rotten wood on it, and I fixed the mechanical parts that weren't working, and I put a sealer over the paint that's chipping to keep it from chipping more. And this door down the road may not work out, but again, the look I'm trying to get, these doors here are the same age of those beams. They're about 1850, 1860. doors. And these came from France. And I got them pennies on the dollar for what they were selling for originally. Someone bought them and after a few years didn't want them. And I got them much, much cheaper for what they were originally asking for. So, that's not the American taste. Americans like fake beams, fake old stuff, fake stone. And I just can't stand that stuff. That's where I've had a real hard time with a contractor, because you can build things cheaper and quicker using modern materials. Right now I'm planning on insulating with sheep's wool. I have that all figured out. Anyway, so I'm going to be doing time lapse as I work on my beam. So you can see the work, and I am nervous because, again, I tend to be sloppy, and I'm trying to be very, very precise and very careful. I watch my son work, and he's careful like that. Anyway, you can follow along and see how these turn out. You have a good day.
It's a mindset shift. Happiness is the key to success. Stardust in the building. Let's go. Oh, what a feeling. This happy, happy feeling. Happy, 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 happy. I can't explain. This happy, happy feeling. Happy, happy, happy. Oh, what a feeling. What a feeling. This happy, happy feeling. Happy, 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 happy. I can't explain. This happy, happy feeling. Happy, happy, happy. Happiness, yo, 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 yo. Happiness, yeah, 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 yeah. Happiness, yo, 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 yo. Happiness, yeah, 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 yeah. Any place I enter, I go to feel my free. Forget that I'm matter, nothing to worry me. Where trouble day, me I know day.
Well, at the end now of this episode, I've decided I'm going to call it Stone and Timber, because what I plan on doing is not going to work out. My plan was to do time lapse of me carving out my new beautiful beams, and then time lapse of me mounting them and mounting the door. Well, things went pretty well until it takes 3 beams, one overhead. I'll show you. It came out to me perfect. It's all done. It's got finish on it. It's just the way I want it. I've got it all carved out to fit in. I got holes that's going to have bolts with pegs. And then I'm replacing what you see here, that gray beam, with a much more authentic beam. So you need one on each side post, and then you need this lintel overhead. Well, I got one post cut out, and I got finish on it, at least 2 coats. I need one more coat. And then I was working on my 3rd beam last Sunday with a chainsaw, and I had a lot of it cut out. You can see the L shape, but my chainsaw died and would not start. I got new plugs, I got new fuel, I got new filters, and I struggled with it, and I was just so frustrated that on Sunday night I ordered a DeWalt. It's a tool made by DeWalt that's a small chainsaw basically, and beam cutter. It's a 12-inch, so that will be perfect. My deepest cut here is 6.5 inches, and it runs off my same batteries. However, it's supposed to have come this morning, and now it's Thursday afternoon, and it never arrived. So that's why I'm going to blend this episode in with some talk about stonework. And then next time, I'm going to finish this beam. Then I'm going to clean this door up and get it all set. And I hope I'm going to mount it, and all that be time lapse. There's another beam I have left over. It's going to be a fireplace mantle. And then here's some parts of this beams I cut out that I can use again someplace else. Maybe lintels above the windows. I'm not sure. So as you know, this is to be a stone cottage. And I think I said before, because we live in an earthquake area, we're required to build a stick frame core, and that's what this is, wooden frame core. Wood flexes a little bit, stone doesn't. I worked an earthquake once in Pakistan, and a lot up in the Himalayas, and 85,000 people died in that earthquake in 2005. But the stone houses just completely collapsed. A lot of them had no mortar in the joints, but even those with mortar just collapsed. But anyway, you could build a stone house. Matter of fact, I wanted to, but the architect wouldn't let me. A solid stone house that wouldn't collapse in an earthquake by using rebar and post inside and things like that. But it was impossible to get permission to do that. So anyway, the way you do this is with a stone cladding. The most common way the Americans do it is fake stone cladding. It's cheap, it's real light, it's easy to use. It's getting better and better, but there is no way I would use fake stone on this cottage. Now, you won't be able to see it from here unless I walk down there. I don't have time for that. My house, my main house, has a stone cladding foundation, which I did. And all that was cut stone, cut with a diamond saw. I didn't cut it. You have to buy it cut. And that sends the price way up. So, in this cottage, if I bought cut stone for the whole sides, everything, it would probably be $15,000 just for the stone. So I decided a while back I was going to use my own natural stone. Now we have plenty of stone here. If you look up here, these are called erratics. That pile of stones, those are mostly granite. Yeah, mostly granite. And those were carried by glaciers all the way from British Columbia and dropped here about 12,000 years ago. And I may cut some of those myself. However, what I was really looking for are rocks that are naturally thin. So rocks are naturally thin, tend to be sedimentary rocks because they're not built by volcanoes. They're built by either mud, sand, or microscopic shells in shallow seas dropping and putting down layers of limestone, shale, or sandstone. So I got a geological map of the state of Washington. I love geology anyway, so I already had this map, but I just studied it carefully. And we're in a volcanic area, and almost everything around here is basalt, which is volcanic. It's lava that's turned into rock. Excuse me, when it's hardened. And I found some deposits. One is called the Chuckanut Formation. Chuckanut Formation is a sedimentary rock, limestone and shale. And I found a deposit up on Mount Baker, which is a big volcano. Now, the volcano didn't produce that. It just happened to be in the same area. The volcano sprouted up around it and buried most of it, but this was exposed. So I found a place up there I could go up and get rocks, and I've had probably 3 or 4 truckloads. It's hard. I mean, you can't. The National Forest said you can't get too many, or you have to get a permit, and they don't give permits very easily. I found another deposit of limestone in a town called Concrete, which is named after that limestone because the limestone found there was used to make concrete for the city of Seattle. And through Google Maps, I found the quarry, and there's a geologist that gave directions how to get to the rock, and it looked beautiful from space. And I was about ready to go up there and start collecting limestone, which I would have loved. But the geologist said, don't go up there. Since I posted that, I sent a friend up there, and they got arrested for criminal trespassing because the quarry owners don't want anybody in it. But anyway, so I started collecting stones. And then through Facebook Marketplace, I hit a mother lode. A guy about 40 miles from here, he said he had flagstone for sale really cheap. And most flagstone around here are a metamorphic rock that I don't really like. It's, well, I've got some up here to show you. You're probably not that interested. I'm probably boring you by now. Here's an example. I think it was I don't know what kind it was originally. Maybe even limestone that got baked in a volcano and turned into that shiny rock. And I don't like it for cladding. But anyway, this is sandstone. Perfect. And it's rare around here. I don't know where this came from. And it's sandstone that's put down in layers, so it's absolutely perfect. And I have one more big truckload to get from this guy. And I think my stone are all accounted for. I'll have all the stone I need. You couldn't see some of it, but up in the grass there's a bunch of stones. And then I'm going to cut some of those stones over there to get it. So that ends this episode. Next time you're gonna see me finishing these beams, I hope, if my chainsaw comes, and then mounting them and putting the door on. I hope. All right, you guys have a fantastic week. See ya.